the Clockmaker of Yesterdays. What would you give just to change your last words? Not your future, not the outcome, just the last thing you ever said. The bell chimed, not sharply, not warmly, but low and heavy, like a warning, disguised as welcome. The shop exhaled a strange perfume, ozone, old brass, and dust that smelled like it had been waiting for centuries. Time hung thick in the air, unmoving, watching. Inside the shop, clocks covered every wall, tall clocks, small clocks, broken clocks, perfect clocks. None of them agreed with each other. Some ran backward, some skipped seconds, some were completely still, yet still ticking. At the center, a man hunched over a workbench. Elias Thorne. He did not look up. "Put it on the counter," he said calmly, "and don't touch the pendulum. I don't have a watch." Slowly, deliberately, Elias turned, because in this shop, people who arrived without watches never came for time. They came for something far more dangerous. And here, time was not measured. It was negotiated. The woman stood just inside the doorway. She was young, too young for the heaviness in her eyes. They were tired in a way sleep could not fix. Those eyes had lived too long inside a single memory. Her hands were clasped so tightly her knuckles had turned white. Elias studied her the way a clockmaker studies a cracked spring. "If you don't have a watch," Elias said softly, "then you have a regret." She swallowed. "I'm afraid my rates for regrets have gone up," he continued. "Miss Clara," she whispered, "and I can pay." She stepped forward and reached into her pocket. Not for money, not for gold. She placed a small silver locket on the velvet counter. It did not open. Rust sealed its edges. Salt had eaten into its surface, the kind of corrosion only the ocean leaves behind when it takes something it has no intention of returning. Elias picked it up. He didn't need to ask. "The sea," he said. Clara nodded. And somewhere in the shop, a clock stopped ticking. Outside, the gas lamps flickered harder, as if straining to see through the glass. Elias set the locket down, his reflection bending across its ruined surface. "A boat," she replied. "5 years ago. My brother and we argued over nothing. The weather changed and the boat capsized." Her voice shook. "I made it to shore. He didn't." Elias exhaled slowly. He had heard this story before. Not this version, but this shape of pain. "And you want to go back," he said. "To warn him?" She shook her head. "No, I want to take back the last thing I said to him," Clara said, tears finally spilling. "I told him I hated him." The locket trembled slightly in Elias's hand. "I want him to hear the truth," she whispered. "I want him to know I loved him." Elias turned away and faced the wall of clocks. "I cannot change death," he said firmly. "Death is a fixed point. It is the casing of the watch. You cannot break it." She nodded. "I know," she said. "I don't want to save him. I just want to fix the goodbye." Elias was silent for a long moment. Then, slowly, he nodded. "Very well." But his voice hardened. "You must understand the price." He turned back to her. "To change a memory is to change the architecture of your soul," he said. "You may lose the grief, but you will also lose the lesson the grief carved into you." Her answer was immediate. "I don't care." Elias studied her face. Everyone said that. He picked up the locket again. "Then sit," he said. And somewhere deep inside the shop, a mechanism that had not moved in years began to stir. Because the negotiation was over, and time was about to answer. The room behind the shop was not a room. It was a mechanism pretending to be one, Massive clockwork filled the space, gears taller than a man, turning with slow certainty. Gyroscopes hovered and spun, defying weight, defying reason. Crystals lined the walls, humming softly, each vibration tuned to a different yesterday. At the center waited a single leather chair, old, worn, patient, and inviting. "Sit!" Clara obeyed. The leather creaked under her weight. "Breathe." Her chest rose and fell, synchronizing with the rhythm of the room, the pulse of 1,000 ticking clocks. "Listen." The hum of time itself vibrated in her ears, a melody that spoke of moments lost, of words unspoken, of regrets waiting to be rewritten. Elias placed the rusted locket into the slot on the console. The mechanism accepted it as though it had been waiting for her all along. The air began to thrum. The clocks accelerated. The gyroscope spun faster, and the crystal's light brightened, bathing the room in a ghostly glow. "Close your eyes," Elias whispered, and Clara did. "Listen for the waves." The smell of ozone thickened. Brass warmed. The present loosened its grip. The shop began to fall away. Walls dissolved into motion, floor into sway, air into salt. The memory unfolded around her like a living painting. The deck beneath her feet shifted with the rhythm of the waves. The wind tore at her hair and coat, carrying the bitter tang of the sea. Rain stung her face, each drop sharp, alive, unforgiving. And there he was, Toby, her brother, angry, frustrated, unaware of what awaited him. The seconds stretched. Time held its breath. Clara's throat tightened. This was the moment, the one memory that had haunted her every day for 5 years, the moment she had screamed words she could never take back. But now she could. "Toby!" she shouted. He turned, confusion on his face, the roar of the wind barely audible over the crashing waves. Her voice trembled. "I am sorry. I love you." The anger drained from his face, replaced by concern, by softness. "Clara, what's wrong?" "I love you," she repeated, tears streaming. "You are my best friend." And in that instant, the memory shifted. The weight of guilt lifted. The wave came, as it always had, but the words were said. The goodbye was changed. Then, nothing. White, endless nothing. Clara gasped, waking in the leather chair of the shop. The hum of the machine faded. Silence returned. In her hands lay the locket. It was no longer rusted, no longer fused shut by salt and years. It shone clean silver, warm to the touch. She opened it. Inside, the photograph remained. Toby, smiling, alive in memory, not angry, not distant. She inhaled sharply and felt it. The grief that once crushed her chest was gone, not erased, but softened, rounded at the edges, manageable. The pain no longer screamed. It whispered, and with that whisper came relief, peace. But as she stood, her knees wobbled. A strange emptiness followed her movement, like a shadow that didn't quite align. She searched herself. The sharp ache that once drove her forward, gone. The urgency that pulled her from sleep at night, gone. She tried to remember why the loss had changed her so deeply, why it had shaped her days, why it had given her direction. The memory was there, but it no longer cut. Elias watched from his bench, saying nothing. He had already seen this moment countless times. Clara smiled faintly, a peaceful smile, a lighter smile, but it was missing something, something sharp, something heavy, something necessary. Peace had come, and it had taken something with it. The bell above the door chimed softly as she stepped away, unaware of what no longer followed her out into the night. The clocks resumed their quiet ticking, all out of sync, all remembering what she no longer could. And Elias Thorne returned to his workbench, monocle to eye, tweezers steady. He fixed a moment that had broken decades ago, not because it mattered, but because someone once believed it did. That was the rule. He did not change outcomes. He did not defy death. He did not grant miracles. He only repaired moments. The bell chimed, low, mournful. Another burden had arrived. Elias did not look up. "Put it on the counter," he said quietly, "and don't touch the pendulum."